Ever wondered why so many small business owners trip up when starting an LLC in San Francisco, even though they did everything by the book? Well, getting a business off the ground in this city is rewarding, but one missed detail early on can cost you real money and control. So in this video, I'll walk you through each step to launch your LLC the right way with zero surprises so you can avoid the headaches that most new owners never see coming. You'll be shocked by the rule that almost everyone overlooks at the start, but more on that in a bit here. First, let's examine if San Francisco is really even a good place to open an LLC in the first place. San Francisco is one of the top places for launching a business thanks to its massive startup scene, with over 15,000 startups operating here, backed by over $112 billion in funding each year. The city offers founders easy access to venture capital, top talent from nearby universities, and a culture that rewards fast growth and bold ideas. Plus, starting an LLC in San Francisco connects you to early customers who love testing new products, giving every business a head start. All right, so now you know, and you may have already known, that the city is a hot spot to start an LLC. But picking the right name for your LLC is a process with more rules than most people really expect to have, right? So let's go ahead and jump into that here next. But before we jump in too deep here, here's one thing to keep in mind. So starting your business, it should be exciting, not overwhelming. But forming an LLC on your own, that can get confusing fast with all the legal forms, rules, and easy to miss details. Now, I will walk you through everything in this video, but if any part of this feels too confusing, I've got a favorite LLC formation service that makes the whole process super simple and stress-free. It's guided, beginner-friendly, and it only costs $39. So if you hit any bumps along the way in the video here, go ahead and click right up here to get step-by-step help setting up your LLC the easy way. All right, that all said, let's get back to naming your LLC. So the name that you pick needs to be unique, not just in San Francisco, but across all of California. You can't just add LLC to a common name and call it a day. California requires your LLC's name to be distinguishable from other registered LLCs in the state to avoid confusion. Plus, your LLC name has to end with limited liability company or an abbreviation like LLC or LLC. Now, you can get a little creative as well with LTD or Co., but that legal ending is mandatory to have. Watch out for words too like bank, trust, or anything suggesting that you're a government agency. Those are completely off limits unless you have special approval. This helps to keep things clear and honest for California customers. Now, before you file, check name availability at the California Secretary of State's website and the San Francisco Fictitious Business Name Database, which, by the way, is linked to below, along with every other resource that I mentioned in this video. All right, so next up here, we'll talk about appointing a registered agent for your LLC, which is key for protecting both your privacy and your business. Okay, so every LLC in California must have a registered agent, which is a real person or a professional service who's around during business hours to receive important legal documents, government notices, and tax forms on behalf of your business. Now, choosing a registered agent, it isn't just paperwork, it actually protects your business. If you decide to be your own registered agent, for example, keep in mind that your name and your address will be in public records. That means less privacy and more spam mail. That's why so many LLC owners prefer professional registered agent services. Now, personally, my preferred provider that I've used myself is Northwest Registered Agent. They're known for their strong privacy protections, excellent customer support, and really straightforward pricing. Now, if you hire them to help form your LLC, the cost is only $39, which is lower than a lot of competitors. And get this, you can use their business address on your public filings, keeping your business address private and cutting down on spam mail and keeping your privacy intact. Now, if you want to check them out, go ahead and click right up here to learn more. But using a professional service, it lets you focus on running your business, not necessarily worrying about all the missing legal notifications. Plus, it keeps your public profile safer, and you're always in compliance with state rules, which is huge in California. Now, next, we'll cover how to file the Articles of Organization and officially get your LLC recognized by the state. Filing your Articles of Organization is how you make your San Francisco LLC official. This paperwork, done online or by mail, asks your business name, main address, who your registered agent is, and how your LLC will be managed, so by members or managers. The filing fee is only $70, and once your documents are approved, you get a stamped copy showing that you're legit. Only then you can open a bank account or sign contracts as an LLC. And don't forget, California requires you to file an initial statement of information as well within 90 days, which costs an extra $20 and lists your business's address and members. Now, if you do need to speed things up, you can pay for expedited processing, but most folks find the standard turnaround is totally reasonable. Next up, we'll cover why an operating agreement, while not required by the state, can actually save you a ton of headaches down the line. Even though California doesn't require you to file an operating agreement legally with the state, every LLC needs one to lay out how the business runs, who owns what, and how decisions get made. Think of it like the rule book for your LLC. It really helps prevent future disagreements and keeps your business running smoothly. Now, you can create this agreement yourself using online templates, which are often free or really inexpensive. And another option is using AI platforms that generate custom agreements based on your business details, which is super fast and very beginner friendly. Now, your operating agreement, it should cover things like ownership percentages, management structure, voting rules, profit sharing, and what happens if a member leaves or someone wants to join. And keeping this document updated and signed by all members that are part of your LLC protects you and your business legally moving forward. Okay, so up next here, let's talk about getting your EIN, which is the tax ID that your LLC needs to open bank accounts and handle payroll. So getting an EIN, or employer identification number, is totally free and actually pretty easy. Your EIN acts as your business's social security number. It's needed for bank accounts, payroll, and filing taxes. Applying online at the IRS website takes about 15 minutes, and you'll have your number instantly unless there's an error. Even if you're a solo founder, it's a smart move to get an EIN. It keeps your personal info safer, helps you open business bank accounts, and avoids any last-minute headaches when applying for licenses down the road. Once you've got that number, your LLC is ready to handle money, hire people, or start building credit. Now, up next, let's tackle compliance and licensing so that your San Francisco LLC stays legit year after year. Staying compliant in San Francisco, it starts with registering your LLC locally. Every business, no matter the size or type, must register with the San Francisco Office of the Treasurer and Tax Collector within 15 days of starting up, and you'll need your EIN and your articles of organization ready to go. Getting your business license is next here. So depending on your industry, you may have to secure extra permits. Think health permits for a restaurant or tech-specific permits for a software startup. San Francisco is known for strict regulations, so double check what you need at the city's licensing portal. Skipping this step can mean hefty fines or even getting shut down. You'll also have state obligations, so there's an annual $800 franchise tax for all LLCs, plus extra California fees if your business earns more than $250,000 per year. Now, that all means yearly paperwork, reporting, and payments to keep your business in good standing. Okay, so next here we'll break down exactly what you'll spend to launch and maintain your San Francisco LLC year after year. All right, so the initial startup cost in year one. So your articles of organization, this is required $70 filing fee to the California Secretary of State. Then your statement of information, this is also required $20 filing fee due within 90 days of formation. Then we have the San Francisco business registration, which is required. That is a fee varied based on gross receipts. So with up to 100,000, it's about $40. Up to 250,000, it's about $75, and higher fees for greater revenue brackets as well. Next is a registered agent service. So again, if you use Northwest Registered Agent, first year is only $39, and they'll help you in your LLC formation, and they actually include the registered agent service for free for the first year. Then we have the name reservation, completely optional, but it's $10 if you want to reserve an LLC name as you fill out all the paperwork when you're trying to submit everything. Then we get into local permits and licenses. Now, this is required for most businesses, but not all. This varies widely, but many small businesses spend usually between $50 to $250 for essential city permits. And don't forget the dreaded and required California LLC franchise tax. It's an $800 minimum annual tax paid by the 15th day of the 4th month after forming your LLC, even in the first year. So the estimated total startup range usually is about $950 to $1,250 for most new San Francisco LLCs if revenue is under $250,000 and you use a registered agent. Obviously, it gets higher if your business has higher gross receipts or more permits are needed. Now, let's talk about the ongoing annual expenses after year one. So the California franchise tax has, again, required $800 minimum per year, regardless of the business activity or income. Next, we have the San Francisco business registration renewal that is, again, required. That starts at $43 and increases for higher gross receipts. Next, your statement of information renewal also required $20 every 2 years. And then the registered agent renewal, which is optional if you're using a professional service like Northwest Registered Agent, cost there is $125 per year to stay in compliance moving forward. And don't forget about those local licenses and permit renewals either. It's required for most businesses, but not all. And again, that varies depending on the business type, but you can expect to pay around $50 to $250 per year for most small businesses. Now, additional fees, these are required if you're over $250,000 in gross income. California charges extra annual fees for higher income LLCs, right? So just keep that in mind. It can go all the way up to over $6,000 if you get over $1 million in gross income. It just depends on how much actual income you have. So estimating the total annual ongoing range, it's usually between $950 to about $1,300 for most LLCs that are below $250,000 in revenue. And it gets higher for other businesses that are, well beyond that. Now, again, to help with all this, especially in California, I advise you to use a service like Northwest Registered Agent, which again, you can click right up here to check out, as they'll help you stay in compliance year after year while you focus on the most important thing, which is running a profitable business. Now, if you have any questions for me or are a little bit confused about the process, no problem at all. Just drop me a comment below and I will do my absolute best to help you out as soon as possible. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.